All right, happy day after Easter Monday, everybody. This is day 10 of paying my bills with dividends. I am going to be investing some of my own money, and I've got a strategy I'm going to go over on how to do that. So a little background about me. My name is Joe McKiddish. I actually run a mastermind group for contractors. I teach them how to run better businesses. Part of that is building profitability in their business, hire people, that kind of thing. So been running businesses for 27 years now. Kind of crazy to think about. Like, what year is this? Yeah, 27 years. So been running businesses a long time, but I've always had this thing where my money goes up and then down and up and down based upon my income. And I didn't really like that much. So I tried to get into real estate investing, tried to do some different things. And really the only thing that's really made any sense to me is dividend investing. That's just for me. I'm not a 401k guy. I don't want to wait till I'm, 80 years old to live my life, that kind of thing. So, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to retire when I'm 65. Oh yeah. Have you done the math on that? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I like living my life now. So, I figured that out, for myself. That's been the journey I've been on for a while, and it's been great. So I did this before. It took me about 3 years. I've been living on my life on passive income. Somebody asked me, if you're living your life on passive income, why'd you stop? I'm like, I didn't stop. This video is just me showing a different way of me testing it. So when I did it before, a lot of the investments that exist now didn't exist back then. So, it took me about 3 years to get to the point where my dividends were paying all my bills. And I think I can do it faster. And really, I wanted to document this journey. And I didn't want these videos to be sitting on my computer somewhere where I'll never watch them. I wanted to put them on YouTube where I can find them later and kind of critique myself. So this is more for my own entertainment. So if that's something you're interested in, watching me invest some of my money and seeing what my strategy is, great. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to get after it. All right. Let's go over this real quick before I get started. I am not a financial advisor of any kind. So if you do need a financial advisor, you feel like you need somebody to help you manage your money, go find one of those people. That's not me. So this is not financial advice. This is just me monkeying around my own money. I have been doing this for about 10 years with my own money. I've never managed anybody else's money, and I have no desire to. I've looked into what it takes to do that and what the restrictions they put on me and what they would force me to sell. And, I don't like life insurance or 401ks or any of those things. It's not for me. And so I didn't want to get into selling products. And so I literally have nothing to sell you. So, if you want to give me some money, I literally don't have a way for you to do it. I don't have a Patreon or any of that stuff. And I have no way of, coming up with the time to manage that kind of thing. So really what I want to do here is just go over my own money, show you what I'm doing. This is mostly for my own entertainment. Somebody asked me the other day, what's this thing about your own entertainment? 90% of what I do is for my own entertainment. That's just how I live my life. So, if you want to hang around and watch that, that's what it's about. I'm going to go through my strategy and what I'm doing and how I'm investing my money. And that's it. All right. So let's get into it. So what's the goal here is to grow my dividend income to cover all my personal expenses. This is strategy number 7 because this is the 7th time I've done this. On number 6, I actually did get all my bills paid. It took me about 3 years to do it. I think I can do it faster with this strategy. These tools did not exist back then. So, now they do. And so I'm pretty excited about it. So how fast I can do this. And here's my personal expenses. So years ago, I used to do a lot of Dave Ramsey type stuff and advise people on how to build a debt snowball and pay off their debt. And, which was great because they got debt free. But then what happened the month after they got debt free? They got right back into it because they didn't have any income covering their expenses. And so what I did was I created what I call the wealth snowball. This is my own thing. I got no association with Dave. Somebody told me the other day, they're like, are you associated with Dave Ramsey with the snowball thing? And I'm like, no, I just like using the word snowball. And last time I checked, nobody has a trademark on the word snowball. So in fact, Snowball Analytics is a tool I use, and everybody talks about your dividend snowball. Well, this is my wealth snowball. So what I did was I took all my bills and put it in here and kind of went through this. And I'm not sure how this person is able to highlight stuff, but there we are. I don't know what they're doing in here, but here's what I'm doing is I'm going to build my personal expenses I put all those in here. So water, trash, heat, electric, fuel costs for my cars and trucks, and then car insurance. And some of these fluctuate month to month. So like the fuel cost definitely is fluctuating right now. And then car insurance is fluctuating because I'm adding more kids to it. And then there's my tax payment that I broke out my payments to the IRS. A lot of people ask me tax questions. I'm also not a tax advisor. That's what I do. When I get a tax bill from the IRS, I just call them up and make a payment plan. That's how I work. And they're happy to do it every time. So I'm happy to keep paying them. That's just how it works. So car payments are $900 a month. And that's probably going to go up because I like taking on car payments. I don't like paying stuff for cash, like using cash to pay for things, because I like it to come out of my cash flow. So I'm about to buy a new truck, and so that number is going to go up. So and I'll adjust this as we go along. And then food, and then rent. And there's what my total is. And so my goal here is to build my weekly payers. So these are weekly paying ETFs, and I'm going to go through what those are here in a second. And then just so you know, all of the links, everything like this sheet and all the sheets and everything that I do is all in links below for free. So click on them, use them or don't. I really don't care. All right. So I don't have a Patreon. I don't have any way to collect your money. If you do, apparently, if you sign up for Robinhood using the link that I shared, I get $5. So there you go. If you want to give me $5, sign up for Robinhood. I think I also get $5 if you sign up for Snowball using my link, my discount link. I think that's what they told me. So if you want to give me $5, you can sign up for those two tools. I recommend either one of them. They've been great. All right. So links to those discount codes are below. All right. So my goal here with the weekly payers is I'm going to invest $300 of my own money, no one else's money, my money, into the weekly payers, and I'll reinvest all the dividends back into the weekly payers until I've hit $400 a month in distributions, and we're going to see how far I've gone. This is day 10, so we're going to see how far what I've accomplished in 10 days. Then I'm going to invest, once I hit that $400 in distributions, I'm going to invest 50% into the monthly payers and 50% back into the weeklies. So I'm going to manually drip back into the weekly payers to keep my cost average solid. All right. And then once I've reached $2,000, which I've already done on the first, I'm going to start using margin, which I've already started doing, but I'm going to dip into that today as well. Today, the market was closed on Friday. So as I've said in previous videos, if the market's closed on a business day, I'm going to take the $300. I'm going to add it to the next day that's open. So today the market's open. So I'm going to be investing $600 today, not $300. All right. So, once the weekly payers are at $400, that $300 a day will also be split between 50-50 between the weekly and monthly payers. So for those of you doing math at home, that's going to be $350 a month going into the weekly payers, and then $350 going into that'll be a month. So it's not going to be $700, but it'll be $150 going from the $300 a day going into the weekly, and $150 a day going into the monthly. And then I'm going to evenly divide up that $400, and I'm going to use margin to make up the rest of it. So I'm going to be dipping into margin pretty heavy around that time. All right. So shares of the monthly payers will be bought evenly as well. So I'm just going to buy one of each one each day if I can, until I run out of money and I run out of what I feel comfortable using on margin. So I'm going to just buy them evenly. I'm not going to do it by number of dollars. All right. And so the monthly payers, my goal is a 10% return back up here. My weekly payer total return is 35%. That's my goal. Then my goal down here is a 10% total return on the monthly payers. And then the monthly payers will actually be the thing that pays the expenses, not the weeklies. So it'll be those monthly payers. So once I really get into those, I'm gonna track how many days it took me. So I'm on day 10, but how many days it took me total to equal each one of these bills. And these will go fast once I start those monthly payers. This will start clicking. I'll be knocking these out pretty fast once that process gets rolling. So it's the snowball going downhill, right? And that's part of the strategy here. All right. So a couple things. One is, here's my investments, all my investments that I'm using. The monthly contenders. That doesn't mean I haven't chosen these yet. I'm just putting them in here. In fact, I put some in here. I haven't put links in there. But each one of these links is to that fund. So if you want to go research those on your own, you're welcome to. I just put the links in there to make it easy on you. And then, here's the weeklies I'm in right now. I'm very heavily considering adding the Walmart one in. There's a weekly pair that Walmart's the underlying, but I'm going to go through these. There's a crypto ETF from Nicholas called Blocks that I like. There's a few. I'm using a lot of Round Hill funds just because they're the ones who pay on these specific days. So Maggie, I got paid on today. And then PLTW, HOW, and Top W are Round Hill funds. Now, Top W was WPay, and it kind of sucked with that strategy that they had before. And I'm hoping that the new strategy is much better. So we're going to find out. And I use HOW because underneath it is Robinhood, and I'm using Robinhood. And so I figured it'd be fun to use that. This has been up and down and all over the place. Somebody asked me if I thought that HOW was going to be good now. I don't have an opinion on that. I think it's going to be fine, but who knows? I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not a predictor of what the market's going to do, but I know that it does pay out pretty decent dividends, and so we're gonna see if my strategy of dollar cost averaging into them works. All right. So I've got two Rex shares ones, the Tesla one and NVIDIA, and those have been kind of up and down and all over the place lately. I'm using these new Tap Alpha funds. I like their T-SPY and TDAC funds, and so these are the weekly payers that use those as the underlying. They're called their lift product. I don't know if these are any good or not. They're brand new. I just put them in here because I needed something else that would pay on Wednesday, and that's why I added them in. All right, I got three that pay on Thursday. I've got Yomax's semiconductor fund, Chippy, and that thing's been rock solid since we started using it. Whether it's going to stay that way or not, I don't know. I think it will because I think that the semiconductor space, I'm in Boise, which is the land of Micron, and then I have an office in Phoenix, which is also Micron, and they've got big Intel chip manufacturing facilities being built, and so I can only assume that the semiconductor space is going to be ripping for the near future. So actually, maybe the foreseeable future. All right, and then I got two more Bitcoin and crypto ones, Ethereum, and then Bitcoin from Yeth and YBTC from Round Hill. Those have actually done well for me. My other portfolio, I bought them maybe at the wrong time when crypto was on the rise, but they paid out enough dividends. I'm still happy with them, so I'm going to keep them around. All right, here's the monthly ones that I've got, and I'm just gonna leave these up here again. This sheet, obviously somebody else knows that this is available. They're clicking on the links from my videos, but this whole thing is available if you want to go look at it. If you see something that I could add to this list, in fact, that's where the STRC came from, was a suggestion that somebody made in one of the comments. So I added it into the contender list. I'm gonna go research that and see if that's something I want to go with. And then I've got a lot of broad market stuff in here with the NASDAQ 100, S&P 500, and Russell 2000 kind of sprinkled throughout this. But I added in some energy infrastructure, real estate, gold, that kind of thing. There's also some gold down here. In fact, Yomax's Target 12 semiconductor thing is down here. So the high yield one is up here with Chippy, and then their Target 12 Soxy is down here. Then I've got some credit, private credit stuff there. And then, this OMA thing kind of looked fun. It's just their Target 15, Vista shares Target 15, tracking what Berkshire's doing. I'm not sure if it's going to work long term or not, but we'll find out. Then I've got some AI stuff because I believe AI is the future, and I'm investing in that. And then the innovation equity premium income from Rex, these two shares have actually done great for me in my other account. So I'm going to keep rocking on those. So I like those. All right, so let's go look at how much income these weeklies have paid me in the last 10 days. And, not big numbers yet, but I'm up to almost $18, $17.97 as of this morning. And I'm going to move this video over here. It's making me nuts not being able to see the whole thing. All right, so, really, I'm tracking the dividends in here on what's paying out. Once the monthlies start paying, I'm going to make another column over here for the monthlies, just so we can see when I'm going to hit that $60 a month to pay off that first one back over here when I get the water and trash. So I'll have that in the same sheet. But the weeklies, I'm just going to keep track of them every day so we can see how they grow. So you can kind of see last Monday where Maggie was at 82 cents. Now I got paid $2.12. So buying more shares is working. All right, with that, my big money maker of $18, I'm going to go show you kind of what I've done here so far. Today's kind of an up and down day in the market. I was I thought Trump was going to say some more stuff that was going to knock the market down. I was kind of excited. I kind of waited a little bit later. It's 11:30 right now. Normally I invest almost first thing in the morning, but I thought he was going to say some more stuff about the war and cause the market to go completely red. So I was waiting him out, and then he didn't do it. Disappointing. So I've got some red and some green, so it's kind of a balance between the two. And somebody signed up for Robinhood, and so Robinhood gave me another dang Berkshire partial share here for $5. So that's kind of where we're at with that one. Apparently, I got life flight flying over my head here, so give that a second to go away. But this Berkshire share, I got to wait for a while for that to free up so I can sell it. So I'm just going to leave it in there, and that's where that's going to stick. So I got to move these controls out of my way over here, so that way they're not hanging out. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start buying stuff. So a couple things. I have a buying power of 3,825. That's my margin availability plus my cash. And so you can see I've got 503 in cash. And yes, I put $600 in here this morning, but I had $97 in margin sitting out there ish. And so that's kind of why that looks like that. But we're gonna rack it up to $600 again. We're gonna use another $100 ish in margin and get probably 2 of each of these shares. So we're gonna start with blocks. We're gonna start at the top here. I'm gonna increase my position in this one, and this time this will be fun. I'm gonna increase it by 2. So I'm gonna do quantity of 2, and then you can now I gotta move my video over here. All right, so you can see the bid is $13.12 and the ask is $13.23. I don't want to pay $13.23. I want to pay as close to $13.12 as I possibly can. So I'm going to drop that down to $13.13 and see if that'll go through. All right, let me turn my audio on so we can hear the chimes together of those orders going through. All right, so we got Chippy next. I almost clicked on that Berkshire. That would have ruined my whole process if I bought 2 of those. All right, so limit order on the Chippy. So I've got 56. My screen has kind of got some dust on it. 56.40. So I'm going to try and get that for 56.42 or 41 and see if I can get that for that limit order to go down. And then HOW, or increase position. And I think I only bought 1 of those. Habit got me. So let me cancel that and let's replace this with 2 of them. All right. So let's go HOW. I'll increase my position. I'm going to do 2 of those, and I'm going to do limit order on that. And 22.31 is the bid price. So we're going to do 22.32. And then we're going to get Maggie going. I'm going to increase my position there. Limit. I'm going to increase the quantity to 2, and then 44.44. So I'm going to see if I can get it for 44.45. Then I'm going to go ahead and relight my cigar while I wait for those to work for a second and see if any of those go through. Of course, those were all the green ones. So the market, the prices on those are kind of going up. So NBII should be the next one, I believe. Yep, NBII. So that one's red today. So we're going to see if I can get that one for a little bit cheaper. So we're going to go limit to the HOW just went through. 24.24 is the bid price. We're going to go 24.25, and because I don't want to pay the 24.32. I want to get that as low as I can get it. All right. So PLTW, same thing. I'm going to increase my position limit. I'm going to do 2 of those, and bid price is 25.38. So let's go 25.39 on that. Somebody has hit me up again why I do this, and you got to remember, by the time we're done with this in a couple of years, I'm gonna have thousands and thousands and thousands of shares, and those thousands and thousands of shares, if I can save a couple pennies on each one of them, it adds up significantly. So bid price down here is $20.58, and then the ask price is $20.69. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get it for $20.60 on TDAX. And some of these are going through. HOW went through, NBII went through, and somebody told me today we can definitely hear that chime when those orders go through. So that's kind of exciting. Gets me excited. It's the chime of freedom is what I call it. All right, so 33.78. So I'm going to go 33.80 on top W, and then TSII. I'm going to add that one. Get two of those. Limit price, and my bid price is 17.49. So I'm going to go 17.50 on that one. All right, so I just did TSII, so I'm going to do TSYX, increase my position on that one, and then I'm going to go limit, and then I'm going to add, knock this one down to, that one's 21.10 is what the price is, or the bid price is on that one. So I'm going to see if I can get that one for close to that. YBTC, let's do a limit on that. Crypto's been going up today, so all these are increased in price as far as anything that's got crypto underneath it. So YETH as well. I typically don't like buying stuff when it's green because it makes me a little crazy that I feel like I'm overpaying, but that's dollar cost averaging for you. It's dollar cost averaging is you just buy when it's low, buy when it's high, and we'll figure it out. All right, so YETH. Let's go ahead and start up at the top, and I'm going to replace these orders, and I'm going to bump them by a penny or two to see if I can get them to go through. So I'm gonna bring that one up by a couple pennies, and then Chippy, I'm going to replace that one and bump it by a couple. And it looks like these are going to go through when oh yeah, those are ripping right through. So I was close already. So let's get that one up by a couple pennies and see if that'll go. As long as I can get them less than what the market price is, which is the name of the game. Get them for cheap. So, all right, let's go and do. These are going way too fast, so I'm not going to do 2 cents on these. I'm going to do 1 cent and see if I can get them to go through. All right, I'm just puffing away over here, freaking buying stocks. This is what I do. I love smoking cigars and investing. That's like my thing. All right, and so that's just how I roll. Let's see how I look. I should have probably put some sunscreen on this cheek. We're gonna find out what I'm gonna look kind of funny with a tan on one side, but that's life. I'll just even it out tomorrow. All right, 21.12. We're gonna change that one. YBTC, we'll add a couple pennies to that, or a penny anyway. Good thing I didn't do 2 pennies. Save myself 2 cents on that. All right, yes. Let's do one more on that one. Blocks, we'll add one here. And then TDAX. I'm just going to work these until they're done, until they go through. And they're all going. I was so close on these guys, like 1 cent off. All right, these two are goofy, and I'm gonna have to probably play with them a little bit. So the price on this was $20.69. I don't want to pay $20.69 for that. I want to get as low as I can go on these things, but apparently people are buying the heck out of them. If you can see the price increase is 2%, almost 3% on that one. That's and that one's only 0.2. So this one should go right through. Let's see if I can get it by 1 penny up, and we'll get it to crank through here. Nope. Come on. 2058's the bid, and then 2069's the ask. I was hoping to get it closer. Oh, it did go through. I didn't even have to do it. So my existing order is filled. All right. So with that, I got about 2 shares of every single thing on here. I used up all my cash and dipped $120.38 into margin. So that's kind of where we're at. All right, I had to pause it for a second. My neighbor had to swing by and say hi to me. It's the only downside of sitting out in the yard is, but it's nice. I got nice neighbors. He's got a great dog. He's a cool dude. So, that's the thing I found about living in nicer places is hopefully you find people who are nice. I'd actually lived in a very nice neighborhood before this, and I had a bunch of Karens in the neighborhood, and that sucked. And this neighborhood's way better. So I sit out here, smoke cigars, burn stuff in the fireplace all day, and they stop by, say hi, and that's kind of nice. So, all right. So back to this. I was now I'm $120 dipped into margin. So all my investing is done. I should be 11 on every single thing, which I am, other than this Berkshire share, which I'll be able to sell in a couple days, and I'll get, give or take $5 off of that. That'll be nice, and I'll use that to invest. So I'll just add it in. All right. So snowball. I'm in snowball analytics here. Let's go ahead and sync this and see what we change by adding those additional shares. So I'm getting pretty close to that point where I'm getting really excited about how many dividends I'm getting in a day. So I haven't refreshed this yet, so I was at 1,027 annually, which equals out to however much a month, $90 a month. And now I'm going to refresh this. And you can see I'm now at $1,256.07. So, for those of you doing math at home, my goal is to get to the point where I'm doing $400 a month from these weekly payers, and I'm now at $1,200 a year. So I'm 3 months in. So I'm a quarter of the way there. Obviously, this is going to speed up. So people are like, well, it's taking you 10 days to get 3 months. So it's going to take, give or take, 40 days to make this happen, but it won't, because the amount of dividends that I'm going to get adding back in every single day is increasing, dramatically increasing. So the snowball is increasing. So I don't think it's going to take anywhere near 40 days to make this happen. Closer than 10, but not quite that many. So let's go ahead and let's go look at a couple things here. First off, let's go to, I got to pause this. I got some guy mowing his lawn right next to me. Problem with working outside in the middle of the day. I should have done this earlier. All right, appears to be an edger. So I'm hopeful that it doesn't blast out my sound. We're going to find out when I watch this later, but we're just going to keep going. All right, so a couple things I want to go over here. My dividend calendar. So you can see I'm over $100 a month. So right there at a quarter of where I need to be, and it's cranking. So $100 a month is great. So let's go see where I'm at money wise. So you can see last Wednesday I got $3.33. This Wednesday I'm gonna get $6. So almost doubling the amount of money that I'm getting from dividends week to week. And that's not going to always be the math, but the speed at which I'm gonna be able to reinvest these dividends, I believe that it's going to massively increase. So on Thursday, I got $5.84 last week. I'm going to get $9.40 this week. It's actually going to be more because I'm going to invest into all these tomorrow. Which, let's go back to this real quick. So on my my portfolio, I put in buy dates, so and then EX dates. So what do those mean? So if I buy something on Tuesday, I own it on Wednesday, it'll pay on Thursday, right? So I have to own it on this day. So that means I have to buy it on this day or buy that day to get it. So stuff I bought today, own it tomorrow, going to get paid on Wednesday. So that's the way it's going to work. So tomorrow when I invest again, on Tuesday, the stuff I bought Tuesday is going to pay on Thursday because I'll own it on Wednesday. So again, these numbers back here in Snowball, this is going to increase pretty dramatically tomorrow. All right, so I'm not going to hit margin heavy probably until I hit about 4,000 in account value. Then I'm going to get after it. I'm going to start using margin a lot heavier to kind of speed this process up. So I'll be buying probably 2 shares a day, by then. So it'll dramatically increase the speed at which this goes. I'm just letting the dividends. I'll just let the dividends pay down the margin, and that way we can reuse it. All right. So that's about it on there. Let's go look at my goal and see if I've changed that at all, which I haven't, So in here, you can go goals. My contributions are about $600 a month. If you do $300 a day times 20 days, that's about $6,000. And then, what my contributions are, so that $600 a month will equal out to what my passive income is. It still says my goal of hitting that $8,580 a month equals out to $102,960 a year. And so I need to be able to hit that faster than 3 years. And I believe margin and using these weekly payers is going to allow me to do that. But we're going to find out. I have no idea if that's going to be the case, but it still says that I'm going to be able to achieve that in 3 years. We're going to find out if that's the case. We're going to find out. So, all right. So let's go look at the dividends and what's paying out the most. And so this actually changed. So the yield and payouts kind of changed around a little bit. And that's the thing about these weekly payers. They're all over the place. Chippy, here's the percentage. And this is why I was talking about investing one share at a time is going to kind of skew my numbers a little bit rather than by dollars, because Chippy's almost 20% of my total dividend payouts. Maggie's 12%. And then I go all the way down to TSYX, and that's 3%. So I'm just doing that because I like dollar cost averaging one share at a time, not by dollars. So that's just how I like to do it. That doesn't mean it's right. That's just the way I do it. And, you'll kind of see these numbers kind of shift around a bit as time goes on. Whether YETH is going to stay the highest or PLTW moves up or HOW, it all depends on the underlyings and what those are doing. So right now, my goal back here was 35% return, and I'm at 37%, almost 36.5% on just the yield. So I'm hopeful that the share prices go up. And let's go look at the portfolio and see what's been happening here. So some of them are going up and some of them are going down. So Chippy's gone up, PLTW's gone down, Top W's gone up, HOW's gone down. And so that's the thing about dollar cost averaging. Had I not been dollar cost averaging, these numbers would be a lot more brutal, right? So because I'm buying them on the way down the hill and up the hill and all over the hill. So that's the way that's been working. TDAX is about even Steven on that. Maggie's down, TSYX is up, Blocks is down, and this Berkshire share apparently went down today. So when by the time I get to sell it here in about 10 days or 8 days, I don't know where it's going to be, but hopefully I get close to $5 so I can invest that $5 into this other stuff. All right, that's where I'm at on everything. I kind of love this tool. I love the dividend calendar. I love the analytics stuff. I love being able to put my goals in here and take a look at everything and where I'm at and where my allocations are. And then we'll kind of look at these top gainers and losers so you can see what's losing and what's gaining every day. So obviously the stuff that's related to cryptocurrency is up today. And then Robinhood, of course, is related to cryptocurrency in a way so that people kind of relate those two in their head so you can see that one going up. Then, of course, the semiconductors is going up, which is funny because NVIDIA, they announced what their earnings were in the first quarter of this year, and their earnings are insane, but NVIDIA went down. Who knows? People are fickle with their investing. So I try not to be emotional about my investing. I just make a choice and go forward. And if any of these go sideways on me, I'm not opposed to selling them either. So, all right. So this is where we're at on the calendar coming up, and where we're going to be at. So this is how much I made in March, and this is how much so far I've made in April, and this number is going to be significantly higher. It's going to be awesome, and we're just going to keep going. So that's it for today. Again, links to everything that I showed you here, including these two tools, Robinhood and Snowball, are in the description below. Feel free to click on those. You can grab my sheets. Grab my strategy. It's free. You can take whatever you want and use it however you want. And then you can even use it and show your friends and go, Joe's an idiot, or Joe's doing something awesome. I really don't care what you do. One of my friends who's a horse trainer, found a video that I thought they did actually a fine job, man, somebody did a stitch of one of their videos and just ripped them. So that's the internet for you. The difference between me and everybody else is I really don't give a shit what you think. So that's she kind of got all worked up about it. And she's like, somebody's making fun of me. And I'm like, well, that's people for you, especially people who don't understand horses. And again, people who don't understand investing. Or maybe you think you do. Your knowledge is based upon what you've learned and what you've done. For me, before I even got started investing, I bought every investing book I could find and read them all. So I suggest you do the same. Educate yourself. Education is key to not losing your money, and money is easy to lose, whether it's here or somewhere else. So Make sure you're an expert, and that way you don't get screwed over. All right, and don't lose your money. So that's it, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, and I'm going to get back after it. This week's exciting for me. This is kind of where the tipping point is, where I hit over $100 for the month, and using margin, things are speeding up. So if that's something you're interested in, check in tomorrow. And if you have any suggestions on these monthly payers, again, I'm opening it up. If you have some that you think I should add to this, that meet my need of hitting that, they have to be monthly payers and 10% total return. If you think I should research those potentials for this, feel free to comment below. I am looking at those. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow.